It is the afternoon of the 6th of January 2024. At least in my country, that is the case. And I'm very excited to show you all guys the 4-digit Mania World Cup is back. 2024 edition. We're gonna have the Qualifier Showcase starting in just a moment. My name, Juan Cristal, commentating as one of the hosts and map selectors of this amazing crew that we formed towards so many years already. And I will not be alone for this journey. I hope you all enjoy it, but to increase the level of joy that you all get to experience, I have no other than Paturaj to my left, at least on the Discord screen, that is. How are you doing, Patu?
Yeah, let's pretend it's the virtual left. Yeah, I am here to commentate with Juan Cristal, and it is 10 p.m. here in France, still the 6th of January, but it will not be long until the 7th. But that doesn't matter because we are looking right now at 4-digit MWC 2024. Happy New Year, by the way, everyone. It is well within 2024 for everyone. And we have a third commentator in the booth right now. To my figurative left is SunApple. How are you?
Hello, hello, hello. Happy New Year's, everyone. It is 1 p.m. for me in the US, so it's also is the 6th, and I'm here to help out with the commentary. I'm really excited. I've been really having a lot of fun in the past few years with commentary in 4DM, and now I'm here.
We all get back to it every time. It's like Oath, you never really get out of it. But yeah, to give you a brief introduction to what we're doing this year, as you all should be aware, the format of the map pools is changing a little bit. And for that reason, we are also restructuring the map pool, like not the map pool, but like the qualifiers in a way that supports maybe this idea that we wanted to go for pools going forward, which is the reason why we have 7 maps instead of the classical 8 that we saw previously in other editions and in the Mania World Cup itself. So this time we're only having 7 maps. They're all at least attempted to be themed in a way that shows this this overall theme that 4-digit Mania World Cup has. As you can see the design, the beautiful designs that are on the background. Very urban, very street urban vibe. And we try to go for something like that on the song choices as well. So hopefully you get to experience that as well, and hopefully you like them. The maps are interesting. They're going to be challenging in many regards, but that's the point of qualifiers. We want, again, to measure which teams will likely do better on the later stages. This doesn't mean that we don't have like easier sided maps, and as the pool structure that we generally want to aim for this tournament, we have some maps that are meant to be easier than the relative difficulty of the stage, and that is also displayed on this qualifiers specifically. You'll see that one of the Rise maps, for example, is clearly easier than the other. So for the hybrids and the LNs, we obviously still support SBs, so that's going to be showcased very soon as well. But with enough introductions already, I think we are about ready to start, aren't we? Am I missing something?
I just want to say before we start that you might be used to qualifiers that are following a certain framework in tournament meta, but this is not your usual tournament meta at all. You'll see the maps are very varied. There's no like straightforward jump streams or core jacks or anything. There's a lot into it, and you'll see what we mean when we go into the maps. SunApple, did you want to say something?
Not really. I do want to say that it definitely is, this map pool in general is decently difficult, so do understand, I doubt many people will get like 990Ks on some of the harder maps in this pool, so keep that in mind while watching the showcase.
So, without further ado, Patu.
Yeah, let's go into it. Stage number 1 is going to be the SV, and that's going to be Spiral by MetaRoom. A map by Rule Blazing, someone who has continuously contributed to our SV pools, especially the 4DM ones, MWC as well, actual regular MWC. OD 6.9, not too physical. I can actually play this map, so rest assured. This is playable. This is mainly there's a lot of reading involved, and I think for this map in particular, you might want to keep your eyes on the upper part of the of the playfield, or lower your scroll speed a little bit. I had to lower my scroll speed like by 2, and there's some traps in there. There's also some memorization. You could see some stacked notes before the break right there, and this is just a slow jam. And like in general, this map is very rhythmically complex. This art is really hard to get good accuracy on. Like, it is deceptively looking easy, but it is really hard to hack. And everything might be on 1/4, and even the bursts are pretty easy to get right. Without SVs, that is, but I just want to say that this is pretty challenging to get a good score on, and I think a lot of the learning experience, a lot of the scores, a lot of the placements of countries are going to be determined by the team's ability to learn SVs as a whole.
This is the kind of map, though, that you get into and you maybe don't understand what's going on, but when you get into the song, when you start listening to the song a couple of times and you understand the rhythm of it, it gets a lot easier, because most of the tricks are based on reading. So if you are aware of what's coming on the song, then it gets significantly easier to play. Although the snaps are pretty challenging and there's a lot of stack notes, as Batu mentioned before, so be careful.
Yeah, like one trick, for example. We're going straight into it, I guess.
No cheating.
Yeah, okay. I'll impart my tips in the feedback channel. Well, in the Discord, anyways. But stage number 2 is gonna be, quote unquote, the accuracy stage, and I say accuracy in big quotes because this is actually pretty challenging. Like, 4.19 star rating is like pretty challenging. But this is going to be a map provided to you by Automatic Ground, the provider of many technical maps in MWC and ranked section. As you can see, there's a lot of mini jacks involved, lots of quadruple jacks, maybe sometimes even quintuple jacks. I don't remember the BPM. I think this would be a good feedback to have on the layout. That I think having the BPM would be nice to have, especially for a commentary on this one, because I completely forgot to take notes on this one. But the quintuple jacks, the quadruple jacks are very easy to get 200
This is 150, by the way. 150 BPM.
Yeah, 150 BPM is not an easy BPM to actually get good accuracy on the quadruple and quintuple mini jacks and so on. But yeah, as a whole, this quote-unquote accuracy map is very tight, very mini jack oriented, but also has a fair amount of speed bursts.
And only 8.5 as well. That gets very tricky to hack, I think. And props for Dagny for the replay as well. And as well for Auxilic to make a banger map. And I will call this maybe like a choke bait-ish map as well, because most of it is very near and straightforward, but then you get into the mini jacks and you're like, not mini jacks, but the long jacks. And 150 BPM, they're no joke.
Yeah, I definitely gotta agree. That map has a lot of really big choke points with just constant jacks coming at you, where it's like sometimes you can accidentally like move your finger in a wrong way and you get a lot of bad judgments. But at the same time, I kind of feel like that's definitely going to be a bit of an easier map compared to our next map, which is going to be...
Nice background, by the way.
Oh yeah, the cars background. Yeah, it's sick. But yeah, the next map, whenever that one comes up, it is going to be stage 3. I'm Down, I believe, this is charts. I'm Gone. I'm sorry. I'm Gone is the name of the song. This is going to be our Heart of Rice map, and you'll definitely feel it as we go more into the map. It's kind of split up into 2 ways. I remember Pasharaj, you said something about that in one of the feedback channels, and I definitely agree. The first half is very much more like kind of stream oriented from what I remember, and then the later half was it backwards?
Mini jack oriented.
Yeah, okay. The first half is more mini jack oriented, and then the later half is more stream oriented. And that first half, you're most likely gonna find a few bad judgments just because of how like technical it is. But at least you get this little intro, which is not that bad. It's very, very fun to play, honestly. I found myself like continually wanting to play this intro constantly, especially considering how difficult the later half is going to be.
Yeah,
But
I think like the difficult parts are separated by substantial breaks, so it's not stamina draining.
yeah, but I do actually find that a lot of this map is very, very fun to play, honestly. I was like constantly replaying it. It's probably one of my favorite maps. Here we see some of the mini jacks, and they're very, very there's a lot of graces as well, like embedded into everywhere. And that really adds just another layer of difficulty into this map.
Fun fact, we actually had SVs on the transition between the sections, but we decided to remove it after all.
Sadly.
Yeah, you might see some
They were
SPs
super
in the tournament picks, not the qualifiers, but this might be a teaser for some of the upcoming round picks.
Of course, this is mapped by Danny PX. We thank him for all the work he's doing for 4DM, for the skiing, and just the design, which is looking crazy good, as you can probably tell. And of course, thanks to Toxicen for the replay here. This is a very challenging map. Don't get your fingers ready for this. Warm up very well, because this can drain your fingers very quickly. It's not as stamina intensive because you have very nice breaks in between, as Pato was mentioned, but the patterning is so rude. The mini jacks specifically are something that you have to kind of gallop or jump into, and it's very, very tricky to time properly. And I see most teams going for combo here rather than accuracy for the most part, just for how techy it feels. And the second half is no joke either. It's way harder, I think.
Yeah, I would say in terms of difficulty, this places itself between semifinals and finals, week 1 of our difficulty scale. I want to mention that stage 2 is more or less like around the 16, around the 32-ish, but I might be wrong. I have to test around the 32 and around the 16 again, but I think it is within that range.
Yeah, I do want to say while we're on the speed section right now, this speed section is very, very slippery, and you saw some of the jump shows earlier, and it's really, really hard to transition from the jump shows to the speed section, so definitely be watching out for that whenever you are playing this map.
And now we jump straight into the Alliance stage number 4, and it's Carrot Spiral Rider, mapped by Felix Spade, OD7 for 74 stars. Thank you, Sudden for the replay. And well, let's talk a bit about the lens. This time we kind of swapped the motifs that most qualifiers show, where the easier quote-unquote map, it's the release-oriented one, and the harder one is the density-oriented one. I will argue this is a bit of a mix though on the easier side. It's very, very flowy and oriented into density. And as you can tell, the intro for the most part is straightforward. But as we get into the jam of the song, to the ki of the song, you'll see a lot of roll-ish patterns that are faster than your regular 1/4s and can get pretty challenging. These used to have a fair amount of mini jacks, like you can see right here, but now they have mostly been reduced to transition sections. So really to keep you on your toes with your coordinations aspects, as we want through the pools to have maps that test multiple things at the same time but in different variances. This map will mostly challenge you on the density department and on the control department. But it certainly has some release elements as well, as you can see. Some embassy, if you will, as well. Very enjoyable map, by the way. Very, very flowy, very fun to play.
Yeah, this map is 170 BPM, so that density is going to be decently fast, honestly, for a qualifier. And you do see actually a lot of coordination section, especially right here, honestly. Nothing's really on like the same snap to release to, so it's just another layer of difficulty here. And also, as you did say, those mini jacks, they've actually caught me out multiple times when playing this map, trying to get a decent score to just show. And it's something that people will be having to play often to be able to like consistently be able to FC this.
Yep, and as it is similar to Adrenaline Blaster in some senses, because if you have the ability to hit these patterns in general, you will be doing fine. Like, you may be dropping some 200s every now and then, but it's something that is very like flowy, so it's usually easy to combo. And the same happens with Adrenaline Blaster. You just have these choke point spots in Adrenaline Blaster being the long jacks and here being the sort of mini jacks in the transitions. And it's just about really controlling your nerves through them and being able to hit the bursty, maybe kind of jump streamy, inversy sections of this whole map. It plays a lot easier than what it looks. I have consistently FC'd it like almost every time I played it, due to how flowy it feels. The more time you put into this map, the better your accuracy will get, but your combo should almost always be fairly consistent.
Yeah, as a density map, you want to follow the flow rather than go for the accuracy if you're not like up to speed in terms of physicality. Like you see the ODS 7.0, so it's pretty forgiving compared to an OD 7.5.
This is a very fun map as well. That helps a lot.
Yeah, honestly, I feel like I honestly feel like all these maps in this pool have been really, really fun to play, and really happy to be able to like show these maps because they're so good.
I mean, that's kind of the angle we want to tackle for the end for the most part. Like, we prioritize maps being fun, that's being perfect fit for the pool. And hopefully we display a little bit of that in this qualifier. Very nice score, by the way, by Sudden Dead. And, well, great stuff for stage 4. We now will close the LN department, which stage 5, the sin of all sins, if we want to call it. And as you would expect, this is my map. This is a real Nikki Easy FG. Very well-known song, I think. And it's over. This is the techie LN release map, and it's density, like, physically more challenging, I will say, than the previous LN map we saw. But it's not necessarily too hard in the combo department. It's very hard if you just don't have the physicality for it. But otherwise, it is a lot about understanding the rhythm. There's a lot of 1/8s in the middle of every single pattern, and the releases are very, very tricky because there's a lot of very short LNs and a lot of disjointed releases. So you have to be very, very on your toes. And this is a lower star rating, yes. But we feel that this is way harder to get good scores on it.
Yeah, the coordination involved in this map is actually surprisingly difficult. There's so many of these like LNs where you have to hold one on one finger and then also be hitting these shorter LNs on other sides. And also, we saw that like 3+1-esque pattern right there, which can also be very, very difficult to coordinate if you aren't comfortable on these kind of LN patterns.
Yeah, I think in one of the feedback channels, one said that this was one of the most controversial Fun Crystal qualifiers ever. Do you want to say something about that?
Oh yeah, it certainly is very controversial in the sense that it is very, very difficult. Like, I think this is around the semi-finals level, if not ever slightly harder, and it got nerfed a multiple amount of times. It had a lot more tighter releases. And overall, the patterns are fairly experimental. It's closer to a timing help, but in a way that is more like streamy than Jack-oriented, which in a way kind of overlaps with Spiral, but as you have those staging interactions like we are about to see right here, and it still has this thing that you really need to coordinate your hands together. Like there's a lot of anchors as well, despite of the streams, which are for the most part very rigid and short, which contrasts a lot with the structure of the other LN map.
Yeah, you talked a lot about rigidity, and this is the one thing that defines this qualifier against Spiral Rider, essentially. But Spiral Rider is closer to maybe quarterfinals, I want to say, but it's still pretty hard. And rest assured, you'll have something next if you're aiming for early game releases and long notes in the hybrids instead.
Yeah, I also do want to point out that this map is 3 minutes long, so consistency is going to be very, very important, especially just being able to have, like, just being able to consistently think about these LN releases, being able to, like, play them really, really well, keep your high accuracy throughout the entirety, since it is still important to be able to keep your accuracy as high as possible.
Also, the change of star rating is very funny because suddenly all my maps suddenly are easier, and I don't understand why, but props for Sudden Death. I don't think many players would get great scores on this, so props to you if you get a good score on this map. It's very, very tricky.
Yeah, I do think that the leaderboards are going to be closer to maybe 980k average rather than 990k, as was the case in the last few years.
Yeah, oh yeah, on the 3 years as well before.
Yeah, honestly, we may see some like 900Ks.
Oh yeah,
potentially.
I wouldn't be surprised. So flowy fun maps. Yeah, this is the easy hybrid, and I love this map. This is, like, in my biased opinion, the most fun map of the entire bowl. like neutral line tether by Alexia. Thank you, Alexia, for your contribution. And again, Sudden Death for the replay. I don't know. This is just an amazing map.
Yeah, I definitely agree. This map is very, very comfortable to play. On my site read, I found like myself really just having a lot of fun. Everything surprisingly feels very comfortable. You see a bunch of these mini jacks all over the place, kind of just embedded throughout the map, but honestly, they fit really well with the song and they're very, very predictable, so they're not actually too bad to play.
Yeah, props to Exire. Exire, a major contributor to all tournaments all around, and especially Andalusi. And a lot of the rigidity of that map comes from Exire's pretty typical style of hybrid. And this places itself, I would say, in round 16 in terms of difficulty. So this is where you'll get some of that finesse. This is, I guess, more of the coordination-oriented hybrid. And the next one, the last stage, is going to be the harder hybrid. It is also pretty coordination demanding, you're going to see, but
the next map.
Yeah, you see the next map is the last map as well, but this is just so fun to play. Like, the lanes are very tricky to coordinate, the bursts are very comfortable, but they are very intrusive as well in between the lane patterns, so it's something that you can choke fairly easily, but I can see a lot of fairly high ratios on this. This is like very, very comfortable to hit. It's just a matter of, you know, when you have this kind of bursty, rolly patterns that you maybe press the key a bit too smoothly and then it doesn't register. I feel like that happens to me on this map fairly often.
patterns because, yeah, you can slip like a banana on the field.
Exactly.
And yeah, I think this hybrid in particular is very much more accuracy oriented than the next one that you're gonna see.
It's also easier, so it makes a lot of sense.
All right, and here we go. We have the last map. It is going to be Hallucination, and in my opinion, I think this is probably the hardest map in the pool to play, and you will have to play it definitely. It is a Mysterion map, and it is another map that's kind of broken up into two sections. The first half being very, very rice-oriented and honestly a slight bit easier, and then the later half being more hybrid-oriented, or more Ellen-oriented.
Yeah, like stage 7 is the most physical, but I wouldn't say it's as physical as I'm Gone. Like, I'm Gone stage number 3, the Rice finals level Rice was very, very hard, but this is not as hard. I would say this is between quarterfinals and semifinals in terms of physicality, but in terms of getting good accuracy, Doc Mew wasn't able to even get higher than the 983k, I want to say. Like, this is really hard to get right. This is OD 7.5 as well, so the technicality in this map is hard to get right.
The snaps are just all over the place, to be fair, and OD 7.5, it's so much harder to accurately play this. The lanes feel intrusive as well, but the Rise overall is very, very challenging. Mini jacks all over the place as well that are very, very tricky to hit and very easy to choke.
Yeah, whenever I played this map, honestly, even the Rice itself, like, I felt like constantly I was about to miss. I was on the brink of missing her, and if I was feeling like that, I found myself getting a lot of 200s as a result. And here we're already seeing how, like, awkward these notes are to play. There's, like, kinda jacks and kinda flams. It's really, really weird.
Yeah, honestly, I'm still able to play this map on a physical sense. In a physical sense, like, the Rise, to me, as a lower physically able player, I'm still able to play this map still, but it is still very, very technical and very hard to get right. And you'll see this part is really messy. I found it very funny on site read.
The long, like, 3-note jacks sometimes on the lands is just so tricky to hit, really. It's so hard to coordinate as well. The LN difficulty is very subtle, but it's definitely there, and it's definitely very, very challenging. Of course, shoutouts here to Mysterion, the mapper of this final chat of the qualifiers. Really nice job there.
Yeah, the misses that you will get on the one-handed interactions, especially here, for example.
Yeah, all these kind of shields all over the place definitely cause a lot of an issue. And I feel like watching this replay doesn't really do it justice. You have to play the map itself to be able to feel how awkward it is. It's just like,
oh, the releases are just impossible.
Also, it's very, very mind-blockable, honestly. There are very many sections where it's like, if you've played it too many times, you're kind of messed up.
Yeah, so that was our 7 stages, and you could see all of the skill sets were pretty spread out throughout the 7 stages, and that is going to be a recurring theme of the tournament. Like, there's not really any. I would say there's not really any dedicated picks like a jump stream pick, a core jack pick, or a density pick, or anything. There's just maps, and there was a lot of focus on quality as well. As you can see, like all the maps I found like really good and really enjoyable.
And I guess I wish you all good luck, players who are watching this, because you may certainly need it. These maps are very, very challenging. We understand and hope that they are fun for you to play, because that was the main intention after all, for you guys to play this tournament, have fun with it. Hopefully the maps are good for you, and if anything, there's always the feedback channel where you can report your own feedback about it. And like I said, the intent of this polls is to be a bit different than what we are used to, so don't get too scared if you see things that you maybe didn't expect. Rather try to embrace the fact that it's a bit different and grow accustomed to it. I think will probably improve your performance a little bit, because this is kind of the vibe that you will probably see throughout the rest of the tournament. So yeah, it's been fun. It's been a great time doing and showcasing these maps. So
wait, do we have a word from our sponsor right here? Like, did Alvin want to say something about how the qualifiers are gonna go?
I believe so. Yeah, they just joined. So hello, Albion. Welcome to the stream.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. We do have a couple things indeed to talk about. The qualifiers are going to be done completely different from what many are used to. The qualifiers will be the order in which we'll be playing the maps is up to the teams to decide. So if you're going to be playing this qualifier map, or you don't have to play it from map 1 to map 7. Once the team captain submits their the time and date at which they would like to play the qualifiers, they will also be able to say the order of the maps. All maps need to be played twice, but it is completely possible to play the SV map twice in a row, then the second map twice in a row, and so on. Do talk with your teams, figure out what works best for everybody. How do you want to approach the qualifiers? Keep in mind, we used to always have a 5-minute break in between runs 1 and 2. That is not a thing here. All of the maps, there will be a 2-minute break between maps, but you can decide the order in which you want to play. So if you need a break, make sure to schedule that break by picking a map so you can have that break. Besides that, the qualifiers sign-ups for the team captains will be coming later. Do stay tuned in Discord for that. We will be sending that out as soon as everything is ready, and then you'll be able to start getting ready to hopefully qualify for 4DM. Doesn't that sound amazing?
Yeah, it does. Good luck, everybody who's playing.
Yeah, I believe that is gonna be it. Unless I'm forgetting something.
Just for the sake of classification, I think. Not sure if you mentioned this, Albion. I think maybe you. Am I right? Is Albion even alive? Is my internet correct?
You kind of cut out there, so.
Oh,
I heard the first sentence of that question, and
Oh,
then
yeah.
everything just went blank.
Well, yeah, the internet here is
Uh-oh.
not too good, unfortunately. I'm sounding clear now. But what I wanted to say is, like, you can play the same map 2 times in a row now with this format as well. So maybe you can strategize about that around that too.
Yeah, I did mention that. So it's it's
Okay.
possible to play the SV map, right? As if you want to play the SV map last and you have your SV players coming in a bit later than the rest of the team, you can just put the SV maps as the very last map you're going to play in the qualifier order and put it twice in a row. So the 13th map you're going to be playing is SV, and then the 14th map you're going to be playing is SV. It's completely customizable. There are no rules to where you need to put each map in your order, as long as all maps appear twice.
And I think that wraps things up pretty much, doesn't it?
I believe so. Goodbye.
Very fun stuff, guys. I hope you enjoyed the tournament, and this is just the beginning of what is looking like very, very fun journey. I wish you good luck, players. I hope your viewers also enjoyed this, and I'll see you next week for the reveal of the seeds in the showcase of the round of 32. Bye-bye.
Have a good one.